Welcome back. It's now 5 minutes past 7 a.m. Good morning. Welcome back to the program. Today being the Wednesday, it is the day for the Viewpoint, where we take a look at everything happening across our country in a 360-degree angle. So stay with us. My guest will be in studio shortly, but already I have Wilson Sosion, who is a former NAT Secretary General. He calls himself CS.
And CS.
CS.
Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Heritage.
Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning. And good morning, our viewers.
Karibu sana. I usually ask this question, that how is Kenya to this end?
Yeah, Kenya is good. It's a very progressive country.
Right.
It's an open democracy. It's a hub of economic activities within the region.
Yes.
Is a global hub also. It's a country with a lot of global interest.
Yeah.
And so there are lots of activities. Yeah.
Okay. We'll get more into that. But right about now, the way we usually do it, a quick look at the traffic situation before you leave your house. And I also promised to do Bomet, Bolim. So I have to do Bomet as well, lest I be blocked on my way to the village, that I don't take a look at what Bomet has. What a Bomet, I will take care of you. Okay, first of all, let's come back to Nairobi.
Western.
Sorry?
Bomet is the route to Western
Yes,
Kenya.
yes,
the shortest route.
So without going through Bomet, I don't think we can ever make it somewhere else.
Yeah.
Okay. The traffic situation in Nairobi, this is a situation as we speak. Thika Road, always a mess. I really don't know what can be done as far as this highway is concerned. It was a menace years ago, but after the infrastructure, that mess in between Kenya Utalii Hotel sometimes goes back up to KCA or Outer Ring Road, flowing down to Pangani, Muthaiga Square down there, heading to Pangani Shopping Center. This stretch is always a mess, and it spills over to the Kiambu Road, that is along the Kiambu Road heading to Directorate of Criminal Investigations. Something has to happen here, whether an expansion needs to be done or some sense of discipline from the motorist should be taken care of. That is as far as that is concerned. What about Limuru Road? Limuru Road, just around Parklands, that's where the problem is, around Aga Khan. The City Park market thereabouts, that's where the problem is, but as you come towards Forest Road, everything moving fine. If you're coming from the western side of the city, that is all the way from Gitaru, coming to Kangemi, Mountain View, coming down to Westlands roundabout, past Museum, and ultimately into the CBD, flowing pretty well. So if you're coming all that side, you have a moment to come to work. Mombasa Road, good morning. So far, this is how it looks like. Moving pretty fine. The green sign, meaning it's flowing very well. Because what Mombasa Road? You have an option, either use the expressway or the normal route that we're used to. So that is how this traffic situation along Mombasa Road. And finally, I'm told that we have to look at Jogo Road. Very good. It's land massive. Mkwaje, Jogo Road, starting from around Makadara, that's where the problem is. But before that, if you are just outbound towards Donholm, today iko sawa. So unless you want to use the Outer Ring Road, a bit of some traffic around Donholm, Total thereabout, moving towards the North Airport Road. So far, so good. Watu Embakasi, there's a problem here. As you come towards this diversion and that interchange there, heading towards Outer Ring, the Embakasi, North Airport Road, shida iko hapo. But you have to be patient. Very well. Okay, let's cross over to Mombasa. Good morning. Mombasa, the problem started around Kongowea. That is Mariakani Market there, Kongowea Market. The red light is always a problem. That is Kengeleni. But after that, coming all the way to New Nyali Bridge, moving pretty fine. What about those people coming from those sides of Makupa, coming to the new Makupa Bridge? So far, so good. Coming into the CBD, what Mombasa, you'll be surprised that things will start to move at around 9 or 10. I've never understood. Likoni Ferry Channel, so far so good. So far so good. Good morning, Mombasa. All right, and finally, Kisumu City, this is the situation. Today, let me start with the lake, okay? This is how the lakes look like. Have you taken a boat ride in the lake, Mr. Sosion? In Kisumu?
In Kisumu, yes.
Yes.
And
the experience?
That was long ago.
So you need to experience.
It should have been around 1990. 1999. Yeah.
Okay. Right now, that's when we still had the hyacinth, the seaweed.
Yeah,
right now, it's been taken care of, it's clear. So you can have a quick motorboat ride, a motorboat ride in Lake Victoria. So it looks good. That's as far as that's concerned. All right, watu wa Kisumu, Wayawereuru. That is as far as that's concerned in terms of traffic. Let me come back and take a look at what we have on the front page of local dailies. Let me start with Daily Nation. On the front page of the Daily Nation, 4 days of hell. That is what is there. Oops, 4 days of hell. It's all about former CS, that is Joseph Olelenku. This is in regards to the Westgate Mall attack, which happened 10 years ago. And for Olelenku, it was a baptism of fire as the Westgate raid made him the good man in the wrong job, quote unquote. Joseph Olelenku, a career hotelier, had been a surprise pick for interior security CS for newly elected President Uhuru Kenyatta. He was up to the task, he said, and promised to deliver on his mandate. But the tragic events of September 21st, 2013, that left 67 people dead, would change everything. And when it all started at around midday on that fateful Saturday, the minister had no idea of what was about to happen. But let me ask you this, Ms. Osion, this probably Kenya has really grown in terms of our preparedness, in terms of terrorism, because these are some of the things that we were not for, apart from the 1998 bomb attack at the embassy. Then at some point we had some reprieve, some silence, and then years later we had some sense of, terrorism attack. But we would give it to ourselves that we have grown of age to this far.
I think the establishment of anti-police terrorist unit has strengthened the capacity of surveillance and monitoring and early detection of terrorist activities. And Kenyan security system is credited to be one of the best in the world, the most professional. I think there are good things that really we must speak about in this country. Our security system. We've got one of the most professional military outfits in the world, and you saw what they did in Somalia. They were chided by our neighbors who have been in civil wars that the Kenyan military is only very good in parades, but it's not good at war. And where our neighbors had failed in Somalia, where Uganda had failed, Ethiopia had failed, and the rest, the Kenya army succeeded very tremendously in Somalia. But after the August 7th and subsequently, it was found that it was important that the terrorist cells in Somalia should be dealt with and could be dealt with by the Kenya army, where even the US could not succeed in doing it. But you've seen what the Kenya army has done. We've got the best story in dealing with terrorism in the Horn of Africa, and Kenya army doing it. Other than Kenya army, our police security system and our intelligence is credited to be one of the best in the world. And equipping it and giving it the necessary infrastructure to execute their mandate has made this Kenya completely safe from terrorist attacks, other than what we saw in Duji's supermarket and others who were in Kikambala in the coast. That was an Israeli-run hotel in Mombasa. Those isolated pockets of trying to target so that we can be embarrassed internationally. I think we have managed. Kenya is now a very safe destination. It's a safe country for tourists, and I think it's out of the classification of destinations that some countries have been giving advisories to their visitors, to their citizens not to visit. So Kenya is very safe. Every part of Kenya is safe. Tourism is robust, and our hotels are full, and our country is generally completely hospitable to our visitors, and that is what we need. We must secure our borders and secure our country.
Yeah. When you look at the trajectory in terms of growth, way back, the terrorist attack in 1998, we had sporadic attacks, the Lamu, but when Kenya Defence Forces got their foot in Somalia, now years on end, we've seen some huge space of calm return. And in fact, Somalia can now do business freely with other countries, much as there's that sense of stability slowly, because that is not something they're used to. But what would you make in terms of our policy, in terms of foreign policy as a country compared to other countries, in terms of creation of peace, creation of unity, globally or even regionally?
The truth is we are a regional superpower. That's a fact. In terms of capacity, in many areas, in many areas in terms of development, but in terms of security,
yes.
We've been the most stable democracy since independence for a long time. Unlike our neighbors who have gone through very serious civil wars, governments have been brought down. But for us, we have enjoyed relative stability, and this is a country where democracy has been allowed to thrive over time. And the democratic process has created a democratic government with a vibrant economy that is balanced. And investors wanting to invest in South Sudan, DR Congo, and anywhere else will come and put their money and pitch tent here in Nairobi before moving to the rest of the country. And therefore, I agree with what the president said, that we need to ensure that there is peace in all our countries within the neighborhood and within the Horn of Africa. And that even the generals in Sudan should go back to the barrack and leave the country to the civilians. If we succeeded where none could succeed in Somalia, because Somalia was the cell of terrorism. The terrorism activities that we were witnessing
for almost the entire continent.
The Somalia was the cell of terrorism, but you see, courtesy of Kenya Army, now Somalia, even as a state, is normalizing. We are in DR Congo, the Kenya Army together with the East African countries, military mobilization to bring peace in DR Congo, because DR Congo is a new member of the East African community. It cannot participate in the economic and political and integration affairs if it is in the state of the civil war. So I think we begin first as Kenya to assist our countries within the region to stabilize. We hosted South Sudan for a long time, the generals. The peace talk, the comprehensive peace agreement was signed in Naivasha and presided over by one Kenyan, Major General Sumbeyua. And now South Sudan is stable, it's in peace. And very often when there are conflicts, you can see the eminent leadership of Kenya will always step in.
Most of the peace talks are actually held here in Nairobi.
Yeah, the peace talks are held in Nairobi. Nairobi is the Geneva of East Africa. And you've seen the president has profiled Kenya as such, even globally. If our participation in helping Haiti, an island in the Caribbean, where we have our brothers, the president's commitment to deploy and to avail the Kenyan police to assist in training and operationalizing the police system in Haiti, you saw was praised by Joe Biden yesterday while delivering his speech at the United Nations General Assembly. So really, we are recognized globally, and Joe Biden urged the United Nations Security Council to support Kenya in what it is doing in Haiti. So we must think beyond the continent and within the continent. And you see, when you are talking about Africa continental free trade area and removing the boundary barriers within Africa, it must take cognizant of security situations. We must secure the continent. We cannot open borders without securing the continent. And after securing the continent, the free movement of goods and people, and of course, removal of barriers to trade like visas, I think is going to take us a notch higher.
Yeah.
We should join other jurisdictions like Europe, where they've established one common EU and there's a common market with a common currency. There are countries what we call the Schengen countries. That is Netherlands, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Switzerland. You get one common visa and one entry port, and you move freely within those jurisdictions.
Yeah.
I think in Africa, our real liberation is at the economic front, where we must remove the visas, the borders, and our attachment to our colonial masters, the Francophone countries, getting enslaved to the French, Anglophone to the British, and we must break this and integrate the continent of Africa. And probably we may eventually need to develop a language, a local language that unites Africa. I was surprised when Congo, you cannot communicate to Congolese in English. It's a French-speaking country. But I found it easy communicating with the teachers of DR Congo and Cameroon in Kiswahili.
Yes.
And it's a very exciting thing. South Africa is now beginning to mainstream the teaching of Kiswahili. So Kiswahili might end up being the lingua franca of Africa. Right. And we open Africa.
It goes back to the bad blood between them and their colonizers. All right. That's very good. That's very good. Going back to the history. Still on the front page of the Daily Nation. Azimio split. That's a big question here. Karua Kioni front new political outfit. It's called Kamwene Leadership Forum. It says that Na Kenya Party leader Martha Karua and Jubilee Party's Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni yesterday fronted a new political movement, lending some credence to political difference within the opposition dubbed Kamwene Leadership Forum. Now, the new formation to champion the interest of Mount Kenya region started gaining traction after Azimio failed to name a member from the populous region to the National Dialogue Committee. Now, the story continues on page 5, and Karua is quoted as saying that the Kamwene Leadership Forum, a group of people who are not in the Kenya Kwanza, neither are they in Azimio, but are pushing the interest of the mountain rather. So that is people who are neither in Azimio nor in Kenya Kwanza. They stay there somewhere there in the middle. Kamwene Leadership Forum. So is it going to bring a split in Azimio, or are they, what is this all about? And some people say that Karua and Kioni they're now trying to front a new political outfit. What do you make of this?
Well, those are disparate actions by the Mount Kenya Azimio wing. Yeah, politically speaking, the mountain is the heartbeat of Kenya Kwanza government. That's a fact. And by statistics and data, the mountain delivered 47% of the votes of Kenya Kwanza. And in the language of shareholding, major shareholders of government. That's a fact for sure. Using quote unquote the shareholding. So really, Karua and Kioni to try and market a non-existent and inconsequential new outfit because they are frustrated within the Azimio outfit, which never gained any footing in the mountain. It never sold. The mountain remains intact and consolidated within Kenya Kwanza because Kenya Kwanza, the mountain, are the major shareholders in Kenya Kwanza. And it would be foolhardy to walk away from where you control and begin nurturing and nursing inconsequential outfits and arrangements. So to me, that is inconsequential. It's only an indicator that Azimio is collapsing. It was mechanically brought together with a selfish agenda by those who have held the economy and placed it under the capture for a long time. Now that the economy is out of their hands, so it is messed up with huge debts and many things that cannot balance. And the economy is going back to the people at the bottom. And I don't think the people at the mountain will be foolish enough to entertain this kind of outfit that is trying to metamorphose itself out of Azimio to try and gain some attraction and relevance in the mountain. The mountain is decided, and is decided beyond the next 10 years, and that is the democratic right. And I think the mountain is on a mission, and they made history in this election.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because when you look at the number of people who did not vote even in the mountain, perhaps they still need the total number of registered voters compared to the number of voters. 8 million voters did not vote in the last general election. Now, a chunk of that is in Mount Kenya. You know, looking into that. But then, this is just but an outfit of a number of people who are coming on board who are neither in Azimio or in Kenya Kwanza. They're in the middle.
Even if you get down, you look at the
because
voter
Karua says
apathy.
that they're still in Azimio.
If you look at the voter apathy,
right.
The voter apathy, the voter turnout was projected at the mountain. The pessimist projected that the voter turnout would be very low. But the voter turnout was significantly very high. And you know, the mountain is politically active for a long time. There will never be a general election where they will not participate in significant numbers. And even if we compare with the heartbeat of Azimio, which is Nyanza, the voter turnout in Nyanza was around, in Luo Nyanza was around 70 to 74. The apathy was even higher because of undemocratic process of handing over direct nominations to members of parliament. So really, if we talk about voter apathy and voter turnout, the Rift Valley and the mountain, the voter turnout was significantly high, and it will remain as such. So the new arrangement that is being formed by Kioni and Mother Karua, Kioni and Mother Karua should bite the bullet like the Jubilee members of parliament from the mountain, led by Sabina Chege, Kanini Kega, and the rest of the group. They smell the coffee early enough and shipped to Kenya Kwanza, complete with the identity as Jubilee, and nobody's going to touch them. They are existing with that identity, but they are working within the framework of Kenya Kwanza. That is what Kioni and Karua should be able to do.
Let's discuss that more when you come back. Kindly, let's just pay some bills very quickly. We'll be right back. Godfrey Ruku, Member of Parliament, Bere North, is already in studio, so we are starting that discussion shortly after this. Please stay with us.